Hello there. Today we'll see what is meant by blue-green deployment, what is meant by rolling upgrade deployment, and what is Canary deployment. We'll see the difference and in which ways use case, which kind of deployment model we should use. So blue-green deployment is an application release model that gradually transfer all the codes from a previous version of an app or microservice to a nearly identical new release, both of which are running in production. The old version can be called the blue environment while the new version can be known as the green environment. Once production traffic is fully transferred from blue to green, the blue can stand by in case of rollback or pulled from production and updated to become the template upon which the next update is made. There are downsides to this continuous deployment model. Not all environments have the same uptime requirements or the resources to properly perform CI/CD process like the blue-green. But many apps evolve to support such continuous delivery as the enterprise supporting them digitally transform. Here you can see in this diagram, blue environment has the older code and the green environment has the newer code. Both of them can run parallelly, but once green environment start getting all the traffic, blue environments gets discarded. What is rolling update? So rolling upgrade deployment model says that we should do the upgrade one by one slowly and there should not be any downtime. So a rolling upgrade is an upgrade of a software version performed with a zero runtime or other disruption services. Highly available systems were originally convinced to cope with hardware and software failures. Upgrading the software while the same software is running is a different matter and it's not trivial given possible complex dependencies among different softwares and data entities. Here you can see in case of Kubernetes node, initially we have two nodes which is running. Once we start to deploy the new code version, first of all the first node will be upgraded and then the older code will be discarded on from the first node. Second, then later on second pod will with the new code base will be upgraded and the older code will be discarded from the older pods. And at last, when both the older pods gets discarded, the server will have only the latest code running with the latest pods. What is Canary deployment? In a software engineering, Canary deployment is the practice of making a staged deployment or rollout for a software update to a small parts of the user first. Maybe you can consider it as a alpha or beta release. So they may test it and provide feedback. Once the change is accepted, the update is rolled out to the rest of the users. So if Facebook or Google or Amazon they need to try some new feature with a limited set of user or limited set of audience or for a given country or region, then they can use this Canary deployment where all the users are not exposed to the latest code, only the selected set of users or regions or countries are exposed to the latest code. And once if it is successful, then all the users move to that latest code. Hello there. So let's move ahead and see how it works. What is the difference between rolling upgrade deployment, blue-green deployment, and Canary deployment? So let's get started with rolling upgrade first. Okay. So in case of rolling upgrade deployment, how we do the deployment? Assume that you are a developer and you have written some code. Maybe this is new code you have written with version 1.1. Okay, and you want to deploy it. Okay, so how will you do that? We'll use some CI/CD channels, of course, and assuming that we have Kubernetes as the we are deploying everything on the Kubernetes, and so since you wanted to deploy version 1.1, we already have the version of code 1.0 deployed on the production environment. So let's move it here. We'll try to see how it works basically. So with old code with version 1.0 for UI, maybe it was there. Then similarly we have a code for backend. Okay, and similarly other microservices as well. Now this new code in the traditional method, how it is done, we turn on the server and then we deploy all the things, but that gives it, that needs a downtime, and these days we don't want to use the we don't want to have the downtime, so we want zero downtime deployment. To achieve that, what in case of rolling upgrade deployment, what we'll do, first of all, not all the servers are turned on. Okay, so first of all, what will happen, a new pod will be initiated, and assume this is the Kubernetes environment. Okay, now this is Kubernetes, and this is also Kubernetes. So once we want to deploy this, so new code will be deployed on this Kubernetes environment, and old code is also there. Okay, now we'll define a grace period in Kubernetes config file. This, what is this grace period? Grace period is used so that when we'll switch the server from old code version 1.0 to 1.1, old pod must be doing something, right? So we want to give them time so that they can finish the work, and all the new traffic will come to this new server. Okay, new traffic will come here, and whatever it was processing, which is in the flight mode, will be completed by this grace period time. And later on, once this grace period is time is over, we will discard this old pod. Okay, so this will get discarded, so there is no downtime impacted. Okay, here now the same will happen for the second pod as well. So first of all, this a new pod again will be started with new code version 1.1 for backend, and this will have and all the new traffic will come here, and once the grace period is over, again we will discard this older pod for backend, and at last we will have just we'll have only the new code base here, because the older pod is no more available. So we'll have all the user traffic, will come to this new server. So we have seen we have upgraded the server as well, and there is no downtime, and it was done one by one. So this is the beauty of rolling upgrade deployment. Now, what do you mean by canary deployment? Let's see that. So assume that you have as a Facebook, for example, you have developed some feature and that you want to release only to the US audience or to only Indian audience, for example, or you have developed some feature that you want to test with the alpha user or beta user or for UAT. So if you need to do that, then what you will do, so user, let this be a regular user, and again we'll assume that this is getting deployed using the Kubernetes. Okay, so we'll have this alpha or beta user, and we'll have some proxy or load balancer here, proxy or load balancer or router or API gateway. We'll have something that will route the traffic on different servers. So so this is the existing production server where we have the old code version 1.0. Okay, so the new what how the Canary deployment will work. We will deploy the new server on the new pods and will route the user. So here also there is no downtime because the existing user will not get impacted. Existing user will continue getting service from the older code or older pods, and the alpha or selected set of users or selected set of regions of user will be routed to this new code base. So this is the Canary deployment. So it is very helpful in case of alpha or beta testing of some features, or if you want to release a feature which for a given country or region specific. Okay, so this is very helpful in that case. And so this is Canary deployment. Now let's understand what is meant by blue-green deployment. So I'll try to use same. Okay. Now initially we'll have this. So this is the normal use case where we have a regular user who is using a set of code on the production. Now once the developer has developed new feature, that also should be tested by all the users. But if we'll turn down all the server for the deployment, then there will be downtime, and we don't want to achieve that. So in case of what happens in case of blue-green deployment? So in case of blue-green deployment, older code is considered as the blue, okay, and the new code base we call that as the green deployment. So we'll have the new server deployed. Till the time new server is deployed or the new pod is deployed, nothing is coming to the here, okay. Once this server is ready, the testing will be performed here, and at last, if everything is working fine, at that time, what we'll do, we will route the traffic to this new code base with the help of proxy load balancer configuration. We'll just change the configuration and all the traffic will start coming to this place, which is on the green. Okay, and once this is successfully getting used by all the users, at the end, we'll remove the traffic from the blue deployments. So these pods will be discarded. So this is how the blue-green deployment works. Okay. So this is blue-green deployment. This is a Canary deployment, and this is the rolling upgrade. So thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you think the videos are helpful, do like the video and subscribe to the channel.